What's going on, Falcons fans? I hope you all had an amazing 4th of July and an amazing 4th of July weekend. I certainly did, though I actually had to celebrate 4th of July a day early, and I'm recording this on 4th of July night. So if you hear any weird boom noises or whatever in the background, those are fireworks outside, and I hope that if the camera catches onto that noise, I hope it's not a problem for you all. But anyway, we are going to get into the schedule predictions, but before we get into that, there's just one quick thing that I wanted to say before we get started, and I'll talk more about it in the end of the video, because I know you guys just want to get straight to the schedule predictions, and I don't blame you. But if you guys have time and are even interested in hearing not only about a project that I'm making, but also something personal of mine that I just wanted to randomly share, stick around till the end of the video to find out more about that if you're interested or, again, have time. But anyway, let's get straight into the schedule predictions right now. Now, I said this in my last schedule predictions video, and I'll say it again, but a lot quicker than last time. These are best case scenario predictions, meaning these predictions on Rise Up Rundown go over what do I think the Falcons are going to do at best. If everything is near perfect for us, if everything basically goes right, what is the best that I think this team is going to do in 2022? Now, if you want my actual realistic Falcons prediction, that'll be on my sports channel with my brother L2 Sports. Link is in the description below. You can see my realistic expectation for the Falcons come late August to early September, and we'll have our NFL predictions for every team, not just the Falcons, and who wins the Super Bowl like we have annually making those videos. It'll be a lot of fun. So if you want my realistic Falcons prediction, it'll be there. But for Rise Up Rundown schedule predictions, these are just best case scenario. What is the best that I think this team can do? So let's get started. The Falcons versus the Saints week 1. I do still have this as a loss like last time. I don't really think that the Falcons are going to be very well ready for this game. The Falcons haven't been good against the Saints at home as of late. And they've been really bad in season openers as of late as well. The last time they won a season opener was against the Bears in 2017. But, I mean, do you really count that as a win, though? I mean, we barely won. So, I don't know. The Falcons haven't really won a season opener in a while. We have been struggling to start out the season strong. And also, Jameis Winston is coming back. When Jameis was in, the Saints looked like a playoff team. The Saints are still a very well-talented team, and especially for this young Falcons squad and a change at quarterback, I just don't know how well things are going to start out here. So, unfortunately, I do have us going 0-1, and I got us going 0-2 against the Rams in LA. I just have no idea how we're supposed to win this game moving on. Now, with Arthur Smith, I think you can always rely on a quick bounce back. And I think we do get our first dub here against the Seahawks, so we go 1-3. The Falcons, to me, are a slightly more talented team. I think they have a slightly better offensive line. They have a slightly better linebacking corps. They got a slightly better, well, no, they don't have a slightly better corner situation. They just definitely got a better corner situation. And, it's a very close match. They probably got the better quarterback as well. So with Pete Carroll, it's never going to be like an easy win necessarily, but I think the Falcons are going to respond here, especially with Arthur Smith. I think this team is going to take those first 2 losses they had pretty bad in the season seriously, and they're going to want to turn things around. And I think they turn things around again in week 4 versus the Cleveland Browns. They go 2-2. It looks like whether Deshaun Watson is suspended for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, a whole entire year even, it looks like the Falcons are not going to play Deshaun Watson regardless, and that is a huge break for us. Now, yes, the Browns are a much more talented team. I'll give them that, but man, this Browns team, with all due respect, does kind of find their way to Cleveland Brown their way through a season, and looks like they don't have themselves a quarterback. Baker Mayfield, he's not going to play, even if Deshaun Watson can't play, so Baker's going to be out. Looks like the Browns are going to need a quarterback Falcons with Arthur Smith, they always respond pretty quickly, so, and they also are home, so I think the Falcons will win here. Then we go 2-3 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Tampa Bay. We're not beating Tom Brady, even though Rob Gronkowski retired. There's just, no, we're not going to win that. Now, this next game was hard to predict last time, and it still could go either way. Don't get me wrong, but with Jimmy Garoppolo trade rumors heating up at the moment and Trey Lance underwhelming, all these terrible quarterback stuff for the 49ers and Deebo Samuel wanting out, I think the Falcons are probably going to win this game. The quarterback situation just doesn't look good for the Niners. And Deebo Samuel wants out. Falcons seem to always play well against Kyle Shanahan anyway, except for last year. This game is starting to look a lot easier as the weeks go by, but it still could go either way. So at the moment, I do have the Falcons going 3-3. But then I have them going 3-4 versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Even though I do think the Bengals are going to regress from how they played last year, I don't think the Bengals were actually ready to go to the Super Bowl. That defense isn't ready. The offensive line got better, but it's still not good. But at the end of the day, they made the Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, you just can't stop them. And the Bengals are improving. The Falcons I don't see how they have a chance. Especially, because the Bengals fans, when their team is good, their fan base is actually pretty hard to stop from making noise, I guess. So this is going to be a 3-4 Falcons team right now. And then after that, we have to play the Panthers at home. Now, we've actually surprisingly been kind of bad against the Panthers at home recently. It's always been the opposite. I felt like we were always good against the Panthers at home, but since 2020, we've kind of struggled. And I'm actually going to say that we do lose this game. I don't know. Falcons have kind of been on and off with the Panthers as of late. We could win this game. By this time, I actually wouldn't be surprised if Matt Rule was fired. So, I don't know. That could be a possibility, and the Panthers just kind of have nothing to fight for. But at the same time, the Panthers have kind of been good against us in Atlanta, so I guess we go 3-5. And then the Chargers, that's 3-6. Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, just a very talented team. We are home at least, so that's good. But a lot of people kind of have us having a bit of an upset here. Like, it's not that I can't see it, but I just kind of, I don't know, Justin Herbert and that roster, I just don't think this Falcons team is prepared for that. So a 3-6 start, not looking so good for us, but I'm not trying to, make the majority happy just for the sake of it, but I really do think things can turn around after that game. The Falcons versus the Panthers on a Thursday night. I think we can win that one. We always have our win versus the Panthers, so we go 4-6. Falcons versus the Bears, probably our easiest game up the schedule. That'll be 5-6. That's an easy one. I don't really see how the Bears are pulling up any momentum. Then the Falcons versus the Commanders. We could lose that one. We almost lost. We almost won to them last time. We just choked, but the same result could happen here, but the Falcons, I think they're going to be pulling off a bit of momentum here, and they're always usually pretty good against Ron Rivera, and I don't see how Carson Wentz is going to be a big threat at quarterback. So I think the Falcons are going to pick up momentum here. I believe I'm at 6-6. I think I'm at 6-6. Falcons and Steelers. This is the toughest one to predict, surprisingly. I don't know. It could go either way. The Falcons never really are good against the Steelers. I do admit that. Matt Ryan, I don't think, has ever beaten the Steelers, but Matt Ryan is not on the Falcons anymore, so it is a completely new team. With the Steelers, you can never count them out. you can never count them out with Mike Tomlin at head coach, and they do still have an elite defense, but they have kind of regressed a little bit on offense. They have an unproven quarterback situation with Mitch Trubisky and a rookie with, why am I forgetting his name? Kenny Pickett. They lost Juju Smith-Schuster. It's an offense that kind of has a lot of things to prove. That offensive line has kind of been suspect for them too. And the Falcons are home, but the problem is that Steelers fans are one of the best travelers in the league. I don't know, man. It could go either way. I'm going to say, and remember, this is like best case scenario. I'm actually going to pick an upset here. Arthur Smith, I think, is going to start something new here in Atlanta. He knows when to keep his team disciplined, and the Falcons are on a hot streak, and when teams are on a hot streak, it's usually pretty hard to stop them. So I think the Falcons will be on a 4-game win streak, and they will go 7-6. Yeah, 7-6. So the Falcons turn things around pretty quickly, and I think the Falcons could even get a dub against the Saints. So they could go 8-6. I feel like the Falcons are always pretty good at upsets here and there versus the Saints. And the Falcons have actually surprisingly been pretty good against the Saints on the road. The NFC is wide open. The Falcons obviously would be fighting for a playoff spot. So I think this would kind of make a little bit of sense. Now, the last 3 games, it gets a little hard, though. Versus the Ravens, we're not going to win that. The Ravens are going to be fighting for a playoff spot in a tough AFC, and the Ravens are just a really well-coached team with John Harbaugh and, of course, with Lamar Jackson and his receivers and that defense. In Baltimore, no way. We're not going to win that. So, 7-7. The Falcons versus the Cardinals. This is like... It's winnable. It really is. The Cardinals do have these late season chokes, but the Cardinals, I don't think, are bad enough to be in a position where they can't fight for the playoffs. Like, I think they are a talented enough team to make it. Like, DeAndre Hopkins will probably be playing at this time. J.J. Watt, hopefully. I don't want him to get injured again. Kyler Murray. It could go either way. So... Unfortunately, I think the Cardinals are probably going to be a more talented team to fight for a playoff spot, so I do have them at 7-8. And then the Falcons versus the Buccaneers, they need to beat Tom Brady before I say that they will. So they go, I believe I can't remember what record I have, but it's pretty similar to the one I had last time. The Falcons, with a wide open NFC, they definitely can make the playoffs. It's not impossible. They could probably at least make the 7th seed. And, with the record that I have, it definitely could be good enough to get in. Don't get me wrong, but as far as like how many wins they get, I'm not quite there to say that the Falcons get like 9 or more wins. This just isn't that great of a football team with a very hard schedule, but I can still get, with Arthur Smith at head coach, I can still see them getting around 7 to 8 wins. I think that sounds about right. But thank you for sticking around for those schedule predictions, and if you are still interested for my personal story and project that I want to talk about, stay for the end of the video. But if not, I appreciate your time, and let me know if you guys agree or disagree in the comments below, and I'll see you guys this Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, and rise up. Alright, so if you stuck around to hear about this project I'm making and something personal of mine, I do first off want to say thank you, because I know that, not a lot of the time you're just interested in hearing about someone's random project and this personal story especially, but if you stuck around for this, I thank you, because it shows that you care and are interested. So that makes me feel a lot better about this. But we're going to start with something personal because it leads into the project. This year has been very challenging for me. I admit it. It kind of shows in the videos on this channel because I feel like my energy is just always a lot lower. than it usually is. But, there is a reason for it. And without explaining all of those reasons, there's something that I didn't realize I was going through until recently, and that is something called mental abuse. And you can either do this to yourself or someone else can be saying things or doing things to mess with your head. But point is, mental abuse is very much real and is a problem that is often overlooked because a lot of people think that abuse is just supposed to be like, physical abuse or I don't know, something like that. But up here, if it's not going right in your head, that can be abusive. And it can really affect an individual a lot more than people think it can. And it's a problem that I do think needs to be stopped real quickly. And if you're going through this, I do hope that for one thing you get through this. But for another thing, this kind of leads into the project I'm making called the 1020 Detective. I didn't even realize it, but I'm actually basically journaling about how much mental abuse can affect an individual and how to turn your life around from it. Originally, I was just making this comic as like, I'm an author, I'm just going to make this dark story because why not? I've never made anything this dark before, but a week ago, I kind of put it together that I was going through something, and then I looked at the story of what I'm making, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually journaling basically what I'm going through, and I didn't even know it. So it kind of inspires me to work on it even more, for one thing. But two, I'm excited to kind of help out, if that makes any sense. Because I feel like this comic actually shows how much mental abuse can affect an individual and how they, people really need to notice that this is a real problem, but you also can turn your life around pretty quickly with this. Now, this comic is actually kind of like a stop motion in a way. This has music and sound effects to improve your experience, just like the last two comics I made that a lot of you actually watched. Thank you very much. But for the 1020 Detective that will come out in October, I released the second trailer for it that you guys also watched. Like, that was the most viewed trailer I've had that quickly ever. Like, usually when I release a trailer, it kind of gets like, 30 views, 40 views in a day. But this one got like 70 views, I think, in 1 day or 2 days, something like that, which showed that you guys definitely are interested. So I thank you a lot for that. But if you haven't seen it yet, it would mean the world to me if you checked it out. It gives you a hint to not only what the whole comic is about, but two, I really hope that this comic can help you if you're going through this kind of problem. And I'm just excited to see, if this is something that you guys are excited about. And if so, it really means a lot because these projects, these characters, I've been working on these guys since 2007. And I've decided I want to work with these guys for the future. And I'm happy that I got started and that some of you guys are interested. So I really hope that these characters can hit home a little bit and just help you know that if you're going through something, you're not alone and there is a way to turn it around. I hope I made sense throughout any of that, but that project, the whole comic itself will come out October 20th, 2022. So it comes out on 10/20/2022 because the comic is called the 1020 Detective 10/20. Anyway, but yeah, I'm really thankful that you guys stuck around for that, and I hope you all stay safe and have a great rest of your day and rise up.